Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. It's a lovely sunny day here in Sheffield and I'm quite excited because today is a new bike day, and today my new bike is this. So this is one of the first Royal Enfield Scram 411s to arrive into the UK. It came out the crate about a week ago. 1st of May is launch day, so I'm here to pick up my bike at Manhattan Motorcycles and I'm really looking forward to a great day out. So what I'm going to do is I'll do this in two bits. So one will be a first ride video and one will be a walk round. I'll do the walk round when I get home because it's a lot quieter than it is here. But yeah, I'm really excited about this bike. So here we go. This is my brand new Himalayan Scram 411 and my first time of riding it. I try and tell you how excited I am, but really words cannot express how excited I am about riding this bike. So now I get to ride it home, which is just the coolest thing ever. Here we go. First time startup. So this is the tripod on this side. This bike has done 6.6 miles. I think there's a switch somewhere to reset that, but you know what, right now I think this is good enough. It's in neutral. I've got 3/4 of a tank, should go a long way, and it's 7:10 AM somewhere. All of these things I will sort out as we go along, but for now, here we go. Okay, I thought maybe that was a little bit loose, but no, it's on a stud. So yeah, that just starts up. It's got that nice little chug about it. It's pretty quiet. That's kind of nice. So first thoughts. Fuel tank actually looks really small, but I think it's about 12.5 litres, which is good for 250 miles. The control's pretty straightforward. It's just got, warning signals, starter button, engine kill switch, headlamps. I think that's a flasher button, which is quite a nice touch. It's got a horn and it's got an indicator on it. So that's kind of it. It's also quite nice to see a gear selector on a bike like this. But yeah, here we go. The first things is, I think this thing weighs close to 200 kilos, but actually feels nice and light just to manoeuvre. Oh, that front brake needs some bedding in. So I think this is going to be a very easy run-in ride home from the dealership. So first thoughts driving this out the door. So first of all, it's very quiet. Secondly, it seems quite spacious. So I'm 6'1", 185 centimeters or thereabouts, and yeah, it doesn't feel cramped. My legs have plenty of leg room. I know it's got similar geometry to the Himalayan, but the seat is slightly lower, so maybe it is slightly more cramped simply because of that. The mirrors work quite well. They don't seem to be a lot of vibration on them. I mean, they look basic, and I'll probably change those out for something else, but they're good enough. The gear shift is very precise. I did wonder whether it would be like some of the older Royal Enfield gearboxes where you really have to give it a good kick to get it in, otherwise you end up in a false neutral. But so far, from the first few shifts that I've done, that all seems to be great. What I do like is this new electronics pod. On the Himalayan, I think things were starting to look a little bit dated, whereas on here, even things like a gear selector or a gear indicator is quite a nice touch. I mean, you think you'd get that on any bike these days, but you don't. My 2015 Ducati Scrambler 800 doesn't have a gear indicator. So yeah, it's a nice touch on here. The clutch is nice and light. That's very easy just to pull out. And yeah, it certainly pulls away nicely in traffic. There's no rev counter, so I'm not sure how far that's going, but I'm just taking it easy. That was up to 30 miles an hour, third gear. It is only a 5-speed bike, so it doesn't have that 6th gear, just for some, cruising. But honestly, that isn't what I'm buying this bike for, or what I think most people would buy this bike for. I think this is a bike just to go out and enjoy and have fun. And so far, so good. So, oh wow, that's quite a change. So I've ridden the Himalayan, and it does plod along, but it's quite a fun bike. With that big 21-inch front wheel on it though, what it doesn't do is turn in nicely. And this, by comparison, just that one bend I did then, it just flicks in so much more easily. I think certainly for town riding, I think that's a big benefit. If you'd seen my other video where I compared one of these to a BMW R1250 GS, you know that actually they have the same size wheels. So all these suggestions that this is an urban bike rather than a adventure bike, I think are a bit misguided. I think this is both. So the seat feels very different to the seat on the Himalayan. It's narrower and I guess sculpted a bit more. It's also just one piece. So I don't know whether that means that it's cheaper to manufacture. I know on the Himalayan you have the two, and you can have the you know, you can choose how you want those set up. Oh, some police coming through. But yeah, this one-piece seat and the way it's been sculpted just seems to be really comfortable. Now you can't tell from 5 minutes of riding, so maybe I should go and do a longer ride and then I'll know for definite. So here's the first speed bump that I've come across. Oh, you know what? That's firm, but it's not bad. Does seem to be a little bit of damping there. I know that sometimes for bikes at this price point that you don't get that premium suspension feel out of the box, but actually this actually feels surprisingly firm. I mean, in a good way. Not that it's like a pogo stick, but you know, for just in fact, yeah. I mean, it really is quite enjoyable. This is only the second bike that I've ever bought before riding one. The first one was my CRF 300 Rally, and I guess if it's bikes like these which are, you know, in some demand, and if you want to wait until you've had a test ride, that you might have to wait 6 months after launch before you can get one. I'm a bit too impatient for that, and I thought that from what I know about the Himalayan, I would like this bike enough as it comes, and so far so good. It's not fast, you know, it's not going to be wheeling away from the traffic lights, but it seems fast enough. Yeah, I mean, that's quite easily cruising along here at 40 miles an hour. So right now I'm just pulling uphill up to 40 miles an hour in fourth gear, barely straining the engine, and you know, I'm keeping ahead of the traffic that was behind me. I don't think I'm holding them up. Let's go right up here. Yeah, that steering is really tight. You know, it feels more like a, well, I'm not sure what it feels more like. You know, more like, I was going to say a scooter in terms of nimbleness, but that sounds a bit weird. It clearly can't be that nimble. It does turn in very easily though. So this is a Euro 5 bike, so it's got the volume turned down to about 6 to meet the emissions regulations. I understand that though it's obviously nothing that anyone ever does, it is possible to tweak the fueling slightly so that it, yeah, opens it up a little bit more. Although having said that, just riding it exactly as it comes seems pretty good. It's definitely got more poke than the 350 Meteor that I rode a couple of weeks ago. So this is the roll-on in 5th gear from 30 miles an hour. So it's still a 30 limit as I come up here, and as I come to the signs it switches to a 50. So let's see just what this will do. So this is in 5th gear. Honestly, I'm not expecting much. 5th gear is the cruising gear. So if I open up the throttle a bit from there and up it creeps, and yeah, you know what, it's not fast. It is top gear. I'm not expecting it to do anything incredible. But at 40 miles an hour, that feels pretty good. It is actually a really nice day here at the moment. I think it's about 16 degrees, something like that. So yeah, it's definitely the sorts of conditions to enjoy a new bike for the first time. So anything is going to feel good when it's like this. So there we go, that's 50 miles an hour. I've only got it on a little bit of throttle in 5th gear. It was a bit of an uphill push. It certainly feels like it would pull, well, significantly beyond that, but I'll probably wait before I do that. I am going to try and run this bike in properly up until its first service, which occurs at 300 miles. And if you're thinking this road looks straight, well, you'd be right. It's Roman. I mean, obviously they didn't put the tarmac down and the road signs up, but this has been a Roman road for, well, probably a little over 2,000 years. And for those of you who know this part of the world, this here is Ringing Low, just coming up to the roundhouse, and on the left, those trees that you can see, that's Lady Canning's plantation. I've done a few videos from around here because the Trans-Euro Trail actually comes through this bit just here. Now, the only thing so far that I haven't been delighted with is those brakes. Now, I know they're brand new, I know they need some bedding in, so I won't pass a final judgment on that yet. But that front brake, you have to give it a bit of a squeeze. You know, I'm not going particularly quickly. Everything is happening in a very much a running in sort of way at the moment. But yeah, there isn't a lot of bite on that. There isn't a lot of grip. I think you do need to give it some. But I'm sure that will improve over time, and as I do more of these videos I will keep you posted. And I do love this bit of road. So this is going from the roundhouse at Ringinglow heading up towards Burbage, and I think when I get to Burbage I'll stop, I'll park the bike up, have a bit of a walk round, let you have a bit of a look at it. I will do a more detailed first look when I get home, so that will probably go up as a video before this one. So if you haven't seen that already, by all means go and check that out if that's your sort of thing, or not if it isn't. So it looks like there might be a couple of parking spaces over there. I think I shall just slot in there and take a few pictures. So that's the first few miles done. It's such a beautiful day to be out riding a new motorcycle, and new bike days are the best. But when you get a new bike day where the weather is good as this, yeah, nothing beats it. So let me show you a few things about the bike. So here it is. This is the 2022 Royal Enfield Scram 411. This is brand new, out of the crate, and it's my bike. It's a bit windy here today, so hopefully the microphone is still picking enough of this up. So let's start at the back. It's got these 17-inch wheels at the back. The tyres seem grippy enough. It does say nylon on them, which is slightly unusual. The back end probably might look familiar to those of you who know the Himalayan. It's just been tidied up a bit with that one-piece seat and that grab rail which comes as standard. It has some bolts on the side, so maybe I'll put my SIBO luggage on there. And then we have this stock exhaust. I mean, they're never things of beauty, but actually that looks all right. It's got that big heat shield on the top, which I guess is for the benefit of the pillion or any luggage that's on there. Coming around this side, we have quite a basic rear gear lever. There's no guard on the top of that, but I know aftermarket ones are available. The exhaust loops around underneath there. This engine has been polished up nicely, and the bike's been valeted by the guys at Manhattan Motorcycles in Sheffield, where I got it from. Front end, it's just got that single mudguard. For those of you who know what the Himalayan looks like, it's got that extra sort of beak that doesn't do much at the front. This one's got a fender extender on it also, which comes as standard, which is a nice touch. If I come and have a look underneath here, you'll see that it's got a bash guard, which again, nice touch, it comes as standard. There's a horn at the front there, which I'm sure I'll get some use out of. And yeah, front wheel, 19-inch, similar sort of pattern tyre to the rear. There's that brake, which didn't seem to have a great deal of stopping power, but it does need to bed in. It does have ABS. And then, yeah, just conventional bulb as a headlamp. I'm sure LED options will become available. And there's just that little fairing. It's got these stock filament bulb indicators to come around the side. Again, not much to see on here. Chain drive, there's the gear linkage down there. I'll do another video where it's actually on my drive with better light so you can see all the way around. But yeah, and then at the tail, I mean, it's not the best looking tail tidy out there, but it's not bad for a stock one. It does what it's supposed to do. And again, with those regular filament bulb indicators at the back. Coming up over the bike, there's this one-piece seat, which is new. And like I say, this is sculpted in a way where I think it's just much narrower at the front. And then here we have the mirrors. Hello. And we have controls here, fuel filler, E5 and E10 compliant, and controls up there. So just what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm just going to turn the key so you can see how that screen lights up. I don't have my trip and navigation set up. That will be in a different video. So there you have it. That is a very quick look around the Royal Enfield Scram 411. This is the 2022 UK model, and it's mine. I'm having a whale of a time riding it home from the dealer, and I'll edit this video as soon as I get home. So now back on the bike to ride through, to ride down from Burbage, back down into the Hope Valley and home. Right then, back on the road. I'm amazed at just how nicely and quickly this turns over when I just flick the start button. And there we are. Whee! Right then, onwards. So you know what, it's such a lovely evening, I'm going to take a different way home. I think I'll make this the subject of another video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and ride one of the local trails here. This might be a bit of a risk, taking a brand new bike on a rocky trail first time it's out, but it's such a lovely evening, and yeah, I think it would be good to see what it's like. I'll put this up as a separate trail riding video. It's not that I'm trying to squeeze as much content out of this ride home as possible, but I know that if I put up a 10-minute video, people will watch 4 minutes. So yeah, putting up a really long video where I talk about riding the bike home, first look and then look around it and everything. Yeah, that's something that people won't see. So as it's such a lovely evening, I might as well try something new. And here we go. As you can see, it is quite a rocky trail, and I will need to go and open this gate. Yep. Yeah, that's all right. Thank you very much. Cheers. I just love how that bike starts. Right then, I now have this little bit of trail to ride. If you want to check out what this bike is like on a trail, please see my other video. This is what I've done on my way home, so now I'm heading back to the paved road for the final bit. And there we go, back onto smoother roads, but that was a huge amount of fun. Yeah, for a bike that costs £4,599, I think it's really good. And this is such a fun road to ride down. I came down here earlier today on my GS, which is fun. You know, it is an amazing bike, great fun to ride, and I'd quite happily do 4,000, 5,000 mile trips on it. Coming down on this Royal Enfield Scram, which is a significantly cheaper offering, you need to be a bit careful on that brake while it's bedding in, but it's actually also fun. Over time I'm sure I'll find out some of its weaknesses, but right now, pottering along this road in the Peak District, as the sun is approaching sunset, we're not quite there yet, I think it'll still be in the sky by the time I get home. Yeah, it's really fun. No regrets about buying it unseen, and delighted to get one of the first ones into the UK. So the part of the road I'm coming up to is called Surprise View, because you're coming from this sort of high moorland, you know, not a lot of trees and things, and you just come around this bend and you have this amazing view of the whole of the Hope Valley out there before you, and Edale is just over that second hill. So running down here, coming up to 50, that is in 4th gear, rocket up into 5th, very quiet. Yeah, there is quite a lot of wind coming over it. It's got no screen, that will be absolutely no surprise, but on an evening like this where it's warm enough, that is actually quite a pleasure. Now, one thing I won't be able to show you in this video is how fast it goes or how quickly it accelerates. I am going to run this bike in properly. I expect I'm going to have it for a while, so that means I have to take it easy for the first 300 miles. I don't think that's going to take me long to do. I should knock that off in the next week or two. I'll get it in for its first service, get the oils changed, and then I can have a proper play. So please hang on until then for that. As you might have seen in my trail riding video, I did find that the suspension was somewhat abrupt over rocky terrain. I guess the other side of that is that on road the manners are extremely good. In fact, I would say on road it's better than my CRF 300 Rally as it came stock. The CRF 300 Rally suspension is very soft, which I think makes it forgiving when you're on rocky trails, but the compromise is that when you get on the road it is all over the place. This is quite the opposite. It does feel like it's sprung more to be a road bike than a trail bike, which I expect is its intention, but I'm sure I can find a way to tweak that. So this is a 60 mile an hour bit of road. I'll wind up to 60. That's in 5th gear. I mean, it'll do it easy enough. It does sound like it's working a bit harder than it has been before. So I think this is a bike that's certainly designed for these country lanes where you can go up to 50 or 60. I can't imagine it would be a huge amount of fun on a motorway. There's no wind protection. I think it'll be buzzing away. Maybe a sprocket change might help that. But yeah, for pottering around the Peak District where I live, I think this bike will be ideal. So that was the first false neutral that I've hit between 4th and 5th, and honestly I was being a little bit lazy. I didn't really put enough pressure on the gear lever, but yeah, it happens on many bikes. So just coming through the village of Hope, here's another speed bump. Let's see how the suspension copes with this. You know what, yeah, it is kind of hard, but again I think that is because the suspension setup is more for a street bike than for a trail bike. I think that's what it will probably get more use for. I might occasionally take it on a trail, but I think I'll probably use my CRF 300 Rally for that most of the time. And back up into the sunshine. It's actually quite hard to see when the sun's in this particular position, but you know what, if you've got blue skies, roads like this, and your biggest problem you have is the sun in your eyes, then it's a pretty good day. Yeah, this bike really is incredibly nimble. Right then, I'm almost home, so I'll stop here and then I'll record my final thoughts and then I'm done. First thoughts on the bike are very positive. It does seem more road rather than trail orientated, particularly with the suspension. Gearbox seemed very solid despite only having 5 gears. The engine doesn't have a huge amount of power, but it's enough, and I think if it loosens up over time it will certainly only get better. So I think this will be one of the first videos that I put up about this bike, and I plan to do something quite similar to what I did with my CRF 300 Rally, and maybe tweak a few elements of it over the coming weeks and months. So I hope this has been interesting and useful. If you are interested in seeing additional content about the Royal Enfield Scram 411, please check back in from time to time. I won't ask you to do that thing because, well, nobody likes being told what to do. So anyway, I hope this has been interesting and useful, and maybe I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that for the most part these days I never put music on videos. That's mainly because, well, everyone's got different musical tastes, and I don't really think anyone has exactly the same taste as me, or there's enough people who have different tastes. Right now, I don't know, I'd probably be playing on days like these just as I coast around these roads, but I won't. Just, you know, hum it.